Hello, esteemed viewer. This is Moriarty. According to viewers, I am the owner of the largest darknet catalog in Russia. It seems to be trendy now to invite experts to debunk various myths and evaluate scenes from movies and TV shows. Who better than me to tell you if it's possible in reality to cook the purest blue meth like Walter White, snort cocaine non-stop while running a drug empire like Johnny Depp? Or, with the entire periodic table in your blood, earn hundreds of millions of dollars like the Wolf of Wall Street?
Peter? It is. Here's the result of your work. There's more money here than we could spend in 10 lifetimes. I definitely can't launder it.
Even hundreds of car washes.
Indeed, to launder such an amount of cash in such a short period of time, you need more than one or even two car washes. In the US, they take everything related to finances and earnings very seriously. Prison terms for financial fraud sometimes far exceed the punishments given for murder. There's even a saying, in the US, two things are inevitable: death and taxes. That's why the main task of the mafia in the US is to legitimize money and pay taxes. Quite different from us, isn't it? For one car wash to launder such an amount and not raise any questions from a whole string of agencies monitoring this, it would take a lot of time. A large-scale business project is needed, turning a ton of black cash into clean dollars for the state. And here again, the director didn't miss the mark when showing Fring's empire. A huge network of public catering with ends leading far overseas. Old Mother Europe.
Walt, when will you stop? How big should this pile grow?
Yes, this phrase is more significant than the pile of money. Heisenberg never answered this question. I understand him. Where the gas pedal is in this business is immediately visible. Your income in this regard increases proportionally to your responsibility and safety, but no one will ever show you the brake pedal. And sometimes the brakes just fail. One of my partners had a transporter. Rich experience, good collateral, kilograms of gifts were transported thousands of kilometers from home. He had a luxurious stash in his car. Trip after trip went smoothly. They weren't stopped at checkpoints, and if there were stops, it was only to check the car's documents. So, this detached our hero from reality. Either he believed in himself and his immortality too much, or he relied on Russian luck. But one day he didn't bother to hide the goods in the specially equipped stash for this purpose. A stash is a specially equipped place, a kind of secret niche known only to the transporter. The cargo is placed in this stash. Stashes are made with the idea that if you don't know about its existence, you'll never find it unless you disassemble the car piece by piece. But if it comes to that, it means they already knew about you, and no miracle stash will save you. You can't imagine how cunning and thoughtful a person can be when it comes to two things: very big money and safety. But I won't reveal the places themselves, as they are still in use by many transporters. It would be, of course, very interesting, but extremely unethical towards the guys when you're broadcasting to millions about where they hide their goods. So the trip, a stop to check documents. The realization that the goods are not in the stash was too clearly expressed on his face, and the traffic police searched the car. As a result of the arrest, witnesses, seizure, department, there he gives up everything he could, all the passwords and addresses known to him. Now he's sitting. But most importantly, during the car search, the equipped stash was never found.
Listen, I'll tell you without any extras, brother. You can kill everyone you mention, but to kill in 3 different prisons within 2 minutes?
Yeah, taking down bin Laden was easier.
According to the series script, Mr. Heisenberg needed to eliminate 9 people who could lead the police to him. But the problem was that they were all in different prisons, and they needed to be eliminated simultaneously. Because if one was eliminated, the other witnesses would immediately be placed under increased protection. I agree, in real life, the elimination of talking heads under state protection is indeed practiced, including in prisons and correctional facilities. Members of gangs and mafia clans are put behind bars, but even there, they continue to live by the rules of their collective. The mafia doesn't abandon its own, but if the mafia needs help, any of its members is obliged to come to help, regardless of where he is and what the consequences might be. As a detached viewer, I'll say, in the mega file sharing community, they adhere to the same rules. We have connections, opportunities. We provide all employees with hardware, equipment for work, and relocation to countries far from the Russian Federation. In case of problems, we try to help, but fortunately there haven't been any problems yet. Repeating this action carried out in the series is practically impossible. Many external factors influence the success of the operation. Yes, mobile communication in prisons is not surprising, just like the fact of committing crimes in prison using this very mobile communication. But in such a short time, preparing an assassination, placing people, and calculating the movement of people in different isolated blocks is impossible, especially in 60 seconds.
Look, there's Pablo.
Oh yes, the cinematic masterpiece Cocaine. Meeting with Pablo Escobar. For a long time, Escobar was the unshakable boss of the Colombian mafia. Meeting him could be equated to at least a royal reception, and therefore you can perfectly understand Johnny Depp's character when he began to refuse to meet him alone. A brave man, as Pablo Escobar said. The excerpt fully corresponds to reality. Escobar controlled a multi-billion-dollar business related to the global cocaine traffic, and as a competent leader, he was obliged to keep every link in an iron grip, removing all obstacles on the way to his success. A wonderful film, shot based on real events. Perhaps the screenwriters changed the numbers and amounts in certain episodes. That's right, such a delivery method does exist, since there's so much goods on board the plane that there's simply no... And that's why the goods are often simply dropped into the water. A whole special operation is conducted. A vessel with the product flies from point A to point B. The group that is going to pick up the goods is informed in advance of the exact coordinates and time of the vessel's arrival. After the drop, the goods are successfully lifted and delivered to the place of further storage. The episode from the movie Made in America is a vivid confirmation of this. The cocaine traffic itself is a large-scale CIA project. You ask, why is the CIA involved in drug trafficking? The answer is simple: the pursuit of career growth. The CIA is an extremely effective intelligence agency. But to carry out effective operations, you need money. A lot of money. And you can't imagine what a headache it is to convey to a stubborn official that money really needs to be allocated. At the same time, this same official expects results from your structure which are impossible without proper funding. How will the smartest and most cunning specialists on the planet solve this issue? Correct, they will create their secret sources of funding, for which they don't need to report. In the end, you get money and a powerful agent network. Personally, I admire both the idea and the implementation. In the series El Chapo, the goods were packed in cans with canned peppers. An interesting method, especially considering the fact that who would want to just open canned cans? After all, if the contraband is not found there, law enforcement will have to pay the supplier company the amount of the damage caused. By the way, a similar method is well described in Breaking Bad. Remember how Gustavo distributed the cooked methamphetamine across all the states of America? In sauce cans, which were delivered to the kitchens of his vast catering network. In real life, not just cans of peppers, but whole sea containers with fruits are subject to conservation, and opening such a container without good reason will hit the pockets of the authorities involved in the opening hard. Character unofficially collaborated with the CIA, people who don't shine at the level of a simple cocaine transporter. But our hero was directly connected with Pablo Escobar. and locking up an informant of such a level would be a significant loss for the guys from the Central Intelligence Agency. Therefore, his issue was resolved almost instantly.
Take drugs and then work normally all day? No, well, how else to work normally? Cocaine and hookers. That's the whole recipe.
I get it. Yes, cocaine is indeed a stimulant, and good sex is an excellent way of both physical and psychological relaxation. At first, the mentioned tandem of cocaine and prostitutes could indeed be a spark for any business mogul. But over time, more and more cocaine is needed, and sex without it no longer brings the same pleasure. The dosage increases, and the person starts looking for happiness in new drugs, mixing them together. Some time passes, and now we have not a professional stock market player, but just an ordinary junkie, not realizing his actions. In America, cocaine is much more accessible and popular than here. In our country, cocaine has always been a luxury for the rich. The market price of 1 gram has long exceeded 10,000 rubles. In the US, you'll pay between $200 and $300 for a gram of cocaine. But judging by the sales statistics of this magical powder, I am convinced that such a high price does not particularly bother local lovers of Peruvian freshness. Gifts from banana containers fly off like hotcakes. Cocaine in the territory of the Russian Federation is sold in the order of 3 to 5 tons per year. The most popular substance, which many compare to a cheap analog of cocaine, is mephedrone. By the way, its approximate turnover is also equal to 3 to 5 tons, but not per year, but just per month. Over time, leisure consisting only of escort cocaine starts to get boring, and everyone wants new sensations.
I didn't see anyone right away.
Jordan, are you on drugs? Jordan, I'm begging you, stay where you are. Jordan, as I see, took a good handful of methaqualone, powerful antidepressants, recognized as drugs in the 80s, and is trying to crawl to his car. We've all seen the results of this crazy idea. Eating 10 expired tablets of a powerful antidepressant is a stupid idea. And don't forget that according to the film's plot, the main character's blood consistently contained at least a dozen different substances for every taste and color. That's what I was talking about. Endless experiments in search of new sensations, and a complete lack of breaks. Since the days of Ramp, I met a dealer who set up his shop in the 2 largest cities of the Russian Federation. The cities were always hungry, business was booming, the dealer worked tirelessly. And then I noticed gaps in his online presence, which were getting bigger and bigger. I decided that endless work, stress, and as a result, he burned out. However, only later did I find out that the dealer decided to use Belfort's recipe, but apparently miscalculated the dosage of one of the secret ingredients. More and more cocaine was needed, and endless partying and makeovers didn't make the wallet thicker. As a result, the search for a cheaper analog just to keep the fun going. And the meeting with Alpha PvP. How he got involved with this potion is unclear to me, but the store, which already occupied one of the top places on Hydra, eventually went down. The wholesale disappeared, the couriers left, and with that, all his sales went down, and he was left alone with a broken lighter, a burnt flask, and a pile of debts. There are many such examples, both in movies and in real life, many having decided that they have already climbed to the top of Olympus. Begin to feel like a kind of Pablo Escobar, but forget about one simple thing.
It's called cocaine paste. Poor addicts mix it with gasoline and call it bazooka. This stuff will fry your brains. There's nothing worse than this, got it? After preparation, you get this white powder, but it's also crap. We work with it. But we don't take it. Got it? Good.
Pablo himself, being the cocaine king, did not touch his goods and forbade close people to do so. In 2023, the understanding of cartels has changed somewhat. We are diving deeper and deeper into the darknet. Members of the cartel never see each other face to face, but despite the changing rules of the game, the rules of conduct remain unchanged. That's how it's done with me. You all understand that a file sharing service of this level must be kept clean and orderly by people with different experiences in this industry, including the experience of use. The site's team consists of connoisseurs of the world of Puff, but each of them perfectly understands that if he wants to work with me, he will come to work sober and leave just as sober. In these shots, we see Escobar burning money for his daughter. Truth, or a beautiful fiction by the screenwriters. His son even mentioned an incident of burning $2 million to keep the room warm. It didn't add much warmth to the room, but it showed Pablo's character. Personally, I haven't heard stories of anyone burning stacks of cash to warm their child. And in general, it's not customary to talk about personal life here. One of my partners got into an accident, the consequences of which could have been dire if he hadn't sought help in time. He could have lost his leg. There was no time to wait for him to find the funds to cash out the needed amount. He trusted and revealed his identity, providing his card details, from which the necessary amount was withdrawn. As a result, the limb was saved and no one died from it. However, after that, the person seriously set me up, but karma came back to him. Pins and plates began to reject. To you, dear viewers, I advise the following. If you're already in this field, choose your partners carefully. If not, don't get into this field. Another cult film with an equally iconic scene. Young Uma Thurman confuses her favorite cocaine with heroin, resulting in an overdose. Considering how she tapped the card on the table and the fact that in those years, only a match head of heroin was needed, it's unlikely Vincent would have had time to leave, realize, and decide to take her to that dealer where Uma was injected with adrenaline.
By the way,
A shot to the heart is also a utopia. No one ever does a pericardial injection. The likelihood of causing harm is significantly higher than providing real help. In such cases, they inject intravenously and perform heart massage. Also, the choice of drug is strange. The first-line substance for opioid overdose is naloxone, not adrenaline. It should always be on hand for those who like to slow down. In an overdose, time and the ability to provide the person with proper medical help, including administering the correct antidote in time, play a crucial role in saving a life. But for the sake of such an epic picture, it's forgivable to allow such inaccuracies. I remember, even before the drug market moved to the darknet, such incidents occurred, but it wasn't as widespread as it is now. Careless stashers confusing goods, scavengers picking up and consuming everything. The reasons for such incidents can be listed for a long time, but every seller should start with themselves first. Don't give the courier goods that are the same in consistency and color, but completely different in dosages. Teach couriers not to crawl into entrances that are easily accessible. And of course, it's worth noting the sound thinking of one of the Hydra administrators. The 50-meter rule should not just exist, but be strictly followed. The 50-meter rule states that placing stashes near schools, kindergartens, and playgrounds closer than 50 meters is strictly prohibited. The same applies to law enforcement buildings. Quality control of the goods and their shipment is what falls on the shoulders of the sellers. Well, that's all, dear friends. Write in the comments which other films I should check for authenticity. Thanks for watching. This is just a decoration.